All right, today we're going to talk about the different ways for growing mushrooms and the best ways for growing mushrooms. We're mostly going to focus on indoor growing today. You can grow mushrooms outdoors, it's a little more involved, but today we're going to focus on the indoor growing side of things. Firstly, the easiest way to grow mushrooms is in bags. At Booming Acres, we sell all of our products in bags. These are our all-in-one bags. They make things really easy. It's the entire process just in one bag. You can also get the products that make up the all-in-one bag in two separate bags. So basically when you're growing mushrooms, you grow with grain and with substrate. With the all-in-one bags, it's both parts in one. If you are wanting to do each part separately, you can get the grain and then the substrate and combine them later, either in a bag or in a tote bin, and grow that way. Behind me you can see some bags that we've spawned. This is the colonized grain mixed in with the uncolonized substrate. Eventually it'll colonize the substrate. We cut open the top and then the mushrooms grow straight up from that substrate. So it's a fairly simple process, really simple. You don't have to buy extra materials. You don't have to buy these bins. You don't have to buy jars. It's you know, one kind of product and you're good to go. Same kind of deal with the all-in-one bags. Just makes things really easy. It's just a couple steps to grow that way, and yeah, really foolproof. The other way of growing is with totes. Monotubs is what they're typically referred to as. This is a medium micropose bin. They make these bins now that have these holes on them and then a dark bottom container. Basically, you colonize your grain either in a jar or in a bag. Once your grain is fully colonized, then you take that colonized grain, you pour it into the bin, and then you add your substrate to that. You put the lid back on top, and they sell these covers for these holes. Once your substrate's all colonized in the bin, then you put on air filters, and that lets the bin get some fresh air into it, and then eventually your mushrooms come up. Some of the main things to point out, the differences between the two methods of growing, and some misconceptions that people have. Each of these options, the growing in a bag or growing in a bin, you're not going to experience different yields from one to the other. If you have 5 pounds of starting material in one bag and you put 5 pounds of starting material into a monotub, you're going to get the same amount of mushrooms out. The monotub will have more surface area, but you won't get more material from it because you're only putting the same amount of starting material into it. So a lot of people, they'll message us and ask like, hey, if I put my bag into a monotub, will I get more mushrooms from it? The short answer is no. If you don't change how much material you are working with, you're not going to get more material out of it. So monotubs, they come in different sizes. You can get a bigger tub than this, even bigger if you don't get the pre-made bins. You can get really big, like 66 quart monotubs going. You can put 10 or 15 pounds of material into those, and obviously the 10 or 15 pounds will do more yield than just a 5-pound bag. So your starting material gives you your end material, basically. The bins are really nice if you want to do hands-on growing. If you want to get your hands in there, mix everything up. If you want to have the separate parts, if you want to do each phase, it's more hands-on. It kind of feels like you're doing more of the hobby. The bags are really simple, really easy to use, especially the all-in-one bags. You don't have to buy, like I said, the tote bin. You don't have to worry about the humidity. You don't have to worry about the air quality. These are sealed bags, so it's all contained. You don't have to worry about, you know, if your house has mold in it, or if you've got roommates that aren't clean, or if you got dirty laundry or something nearby. You don't have to worry about it ruining your project. With the monotubs, they're open to the environment, so you have to kind of take that into consideration whenever you're working with monotubs. Monotubs are kind of nice because you can stack them up. With the all-in-one bags, you can't really stack these on top of each other. But with the tote bins, you can put a couple of them on top of each other and grow that way. Like you can see behind us, bags you can just stack behind each other. They take up a lot less space that way. So couple pros and cons with them. Yeah, so that's the brief overview of monotubs versus bags. Another way that you can grow one portion of things is using jars. Plain glass mason jars. This is a 1-quart jar. You can fill these up with grain and sterilize them. And then from there, you can use this part to mix into your monotub with your substrate, which you would make using either a bucket, turkey tray, or you could use a bag, and then mix that with your colonized grain from your jars into your bins. There's really no difference between using jars and bags. Bags are a little bit more of a greener option. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, but with glass, this is about a pound of glass, holds about a pound of material. Bags, this is about a 1-ounce bag, and it holds about 5 pounds of material. So whenever you're cooking your jars, you're cooking half glass, half grain, whereas in bags, you're cooking 5 pounds for 1 ounce of plastic. So it's a lot more efficient, saves a lot more energy on the front end. Also with glass, you're shipping a lot larger of an item compared to shipping bags. 12 jars takes up about the same amount of space as 1,000 bags. So when you're shipping a pallet of jars versus a pallet of bags, you're using a lot more energy to ship all those jars. That's just a brief overview on how bags are counterintuitively a greener option than jars. Yeah, jars are great though. They're readily available for everyone. They don't sell, the unicorn bags at Walmart, Target, but they do sell jars there. So jars are a great option if you're just getting into mycology. Growing in tote bins, it's a lot of fun. You get to really see your mushrooms growing. You get to handle them a little bit more. You get more hands-on. The bags though, they're the option that we use, obviously. It's just a lot faster, more efficient, save space, use less energy. Yeah, the list kind of goes on from there. So now we're going to talk about the different components that can go into each of these things and go from there. All right, so different types of grains. Here at Booming Acres, we sell a bunch of different types. Millet, milo, corn, oats, rye, and our custom mix bags. This is a mix of oats and milo. All the different types of grain have different pros and cons to them. It's really up to you what you want to use. We do have a video that goes over the different types of grain. The most important parts is how much nutrition and moisture is in the grains. Right here we've got millet bags. Millet doesn't hold much moisture. It's got a lot of inoculation points though. So it's really small, so it has a lot more density. Over here, the mix bags, these have a mix of the small milo, which is the little round red ones. Those give us all those inoculation points. And the oats, they hold a lot more moisture, and both of those have a lot of sugar in them, which then gives the mycelium energy. Whenever you are deciding what grain to use, there's a few things to keep in mind. The main one, if you're making your own material, is what's accessible to you. A lot of people don't have access to, raw millet, raw oats, raw milo. You might only have access to popcorn. Then the next thing to think about is how much work you want to put into things. Whenever you're making your own popcorn, for instance, usually the prep time takes at least an hour, if not 2 hours. Then you've got your sterilizing time. Then you've got, all the other parts of the process to go through, drying it off, using it, all that fun stuff. Plus you've got buying the bags or the jars. So whenever you're making your own stuff, that's all something that you're going to want to think about, is get everything together, figure out what you're going to do, and then kind of go from there. You might want to set aside a whole day whenever you're first starting off. With Booming Acres, obviously, we make things easy. You just go onto our website, you pay $8 or $9 for one of these bags, we ship it to you, it's good to use. With both bags and jars, the grains are going to work the same way. The main things that you want to make sure that you're doing is sterilizing everything properly. So there's guides online if you're going to be growing or making your own grains. Look up those guides, make sure that you're following the sterilization procedure properly, and then afterwards make sure that you're looking up how to inoculate everything properly. As long as you sterilize everything properly and you inoculate properly, you'll have a good grow. The choice on grains, it's really a personal choice. So yeah, check out our other video about the different types of grains, and yeah, you'll get a little bit more info than this video here. All right, the last part of growing mushrooms is going to be your substrate. We sell a couple different types of substrate. We've got sawdust, CVG, and Master's Mix. Master's Mix is a wood-loving substrate. It's a mix of wood pellets and soy hulls. It's just a industry term, Master's Mix. It's not used for all mushrooms. It's not like the best substrate. It's just the name of the substrate is Master's Mix. Like I said, it's for growing wood-loving mushrooms. Same with the sawdust. The CVG that we sell is for dung or manure-loving mushrooms. We make our CVG with core, 2 different types of vermiculite, gypsum, and we supplement it with azomite. Dung and manure-loving mushrooms, as the name implies, grow on manure. If you don't want to have animal feces in your house or have to handle animal feces, the best thing that you can do is use CVG. We use the azomite to kind of mimic the nutrient blend that would be present in manure, and it gives you your mushrooms all the minerals that they need to grow properly. So you get the benefits of manure without having to handle animal feces. It's really nice. The substrate that we sell is in bags. If you're making your own substrate, you can either do it using a turkey tin or a bucket, like a plastic bucket from Home Depot. Pour in some boiling water or get it up to field capacity and put it in your oven. If you want to heat it up, get it at least pasteurized. We sterilize our substrate here to make it shelf stable. Whenever you are growing either in bags or in monotubs, you're going to be adding your substrate in after you add in your grain spawn. So no matter what option that you're using, you're going to end up spawning it either into the bag or into your tote bin. The one stipulation for that is a lot of the wood-loving mushrooms, oysters, piopinos, lion's mane, they don't like a lot of surface area. So with those mushrooms, you're most likely going to want to grow those in a bag to limit how much surface area is available to them. If you have those in a tote bin, you're going to get a lot of really tiny, weird-looking fruits. They're not going to like it that much, so you're going to want to grow it in a bag. Again, with the Master's Mix, it has a lot of sugar in it from the soy hulls that are used to make it. That means you can't do that in a tote bin. If you spawn that in a tote bin, all the bacteria and mold in the air is going to latch onto all that sugar that's in there and eat all that, and you're going to grow a bunch of mold instead of mushrooms. So don't try to do that. Usually wood lovers, you're going to grow them in bags. So yeah, the monotubs are great with the CVG, either in the bag or in monotubs. It's up to you how you want to grow them. Yeah, and it'll work great. It'll save you from having to have feces in your house. All right, so that's our video for today. Hope you learned something. Here at Booming Acres, we're always growing something new, always here to supply you with whatever you need. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below. Do that whole like and subscribe thing, you know, and yeah, grow some cool mushrooms.